This is Roger. Roger, you gonna be a race car driver when you grow up?
Yes.
Alright then, you can join my pit crew. So I'm gonna clean these things up. I picked these up from Jamie this week, and they're a set of American racing wheels. They've got like the unilug pattern. So anyway, they're gonna fit nicely on the Elantra. But they're too shiny and nice, and I can't have anything nice on that car. So we're gonna take care of that problem first by cleaning them up, and then we'll see where I go with them from there.
What is this stuff anyway?
It's called Purple Power.
Purple power!
Purple Power. Now we've got the wheels all cleaned up, and I got a roll of contractor's paper. This is great stuff. I love it. It's great to have around the shop because it can be used for so many different things. But what I'm going to do is roll out a little section of this, cut it off, put the wheels on it, clean them up, paint them. So I've heard a lot of good things and seen some good things about Plastidip, and we're going to be using that today. It seems to be catching on as a great automotive finish for wheels. It's not an endorsement or anything. I just want to see how it works out on these. I'm trying to take the edge off of that extreme bling factor. I can't have anything like that standing out on that project. Many people, about 6 months later, show no signs of chipping or scratching. So I figured this would be the perfect thing to use for a set of drag wheels. And I'm going to wipe them down real quick. We're going to flip them over and paint the inside first, and then move on to the outside. If I find any weights or stuff like that, I'm going to scrape that stuff out.
So why am I going through all this trouble to de-blingify a set of wheels? Well, these tires that are on the 6.5-inch Steelies are V-rated Falcon ZX 225/50 R15s with a 360 tread wear rating. Good long-lasting touring tires. If you saw the runs I made on these tires, you'd notice between a high 2.2 to as high as a 2.43 60-foot time. For a good comparison, my GSX can cut down a 1.6 on tires that are rated exactly the same as these. It burns all four leaving the hole, but doesn't waste any time accelerating because it's all-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive is very different. At the drag strip, there are two beams of light that watch your front tire position. The timer begins once the tires leave the rear beam, and another sensor is placed exactly 60 feet down the track. The 60-foot time is how long it takes your car to put power to the pavement and accelerate through the first 60 feet from a standstill. Another thing to note in my previous video is how badly this car spun tires through first and second gear. The turbo spools to max boost so quickly on this high compression setup that this car has no trouble producing torque steer and wheel spin. I'm painting these wheels because I need an alternative for the tires that I'm using. I think this car will be a fantastic example of the difference that the right tire can make on a wrong wheel drive setup, at least once it's making the power necessary to need it. Looks like the Hyundai's about to get a few non-used parts added to its history after all.
I'd say Plastidip works nicely. A little bit of damage there from mounting the tire. I kind of expected that, so it looks to me like chipping within 24 hours. Put it in my hands, see how it works out. So I'll just shoot another little bit on that, it'll fix that right up. But I hope these fit. I'm really crossing my fingers, so I haven't tried them yet.
These aren't your grandpa's tires. If you're looking for the stickiest compound you can run, it's nearly impossible to beat these. These are Mickey Thompson ET drags. They're not measured like a standard radial. They're measured based on tire height, wheel size, and tread contact patch. The tires on it now are actually shorter than these, but I bought the shortest 8-inch tire that Mickey Thompson makes. This car has the Expo LRV front hub conversion, so the spring perches sit a little bit lower than they would in an Eclipse.
Ooh, that's tight.
That's got me a little concerned. These tires will increase in diameter gradually with speed. The sidewalls will shrink a little bit, but that means that the shape of the tire changes. What I don't want to do is have the tire come in contact with the lower spring perch at 100 miles an hour. I'm going to try a 1/4 inch wheel spacer. I looked around to find a set of longer wheel studs, but couldn't locate longer ones.
It's the same stud.
If you were paying attention to what just happened, I knocked the wheel stud out of the hub without disassembling anything. Most non-professional mechanics don't realize that in just about every hub assembly, there's an access hole on the back that lets you drive them in and out like this. You can use a lug nut to pull them back through and reseat them. If you broke one, use a punch, but they're really easy to replace. I believe the spacers are mandatory in my case, but in my opinion it doesn't leave me in a good situation with the lug nuts. These aluminum wheels are thicker than the steelies. That leaves me with less stud to bolt them to. I tried a different lug nut to get more bite on the thread, and it helped, but I wasn't willing to put myself in harm's way over a few tenths off my 60 foot, so I called a state inspector and inquired how many lug nut threads are required to pass inspection. I was told 4 revolutions. I counted both sides on all 8 lug nuts, coming up with 4.5 revolutions prior to torquing them, so I'm comfortable with it like this until I get longer wheel studs. I'm lucky to have a state inspector on speed dial, aren't I?
Is that a giveaway? A little too obvious? It's cutting it so close. Yep. It's rubbing. Yep. So clean patch on both tires and on the inside of that strut piece. Well, there you have it. You see there's a portion of it that didn't get scuffed, but we've got a pretty thick line going all the way around the tire there, and that's not so good. So didn't quite fit as planned. And here's what we've got on this side. And you see it's rubbed right there on that spot. So we got a pretty good indicator of what's too close and what needs to move. So anyway, I'm going to remedy this little problem because I'm not going to let that slow me down tonight. I didn't need that skin on my knuckle anyway. Yeah, it was a lot of skin on my knuckle. Good times. Price we pay.
If you've never had a compound tire on your front wheel drive car before, then prior to its maiden voyage, support the front of the car on jack stands and freewheel faster than the speed you'll be racing at. That will illustrate quickly whether or not you'll have contact issues. These are absolutely not approved for street use. If you're piloting a car with enough power to need a compound tire, remember that your safety is in your hands. It's extremely important to check out stuff like this.
headline in 5th gear.